when you're researching on your own, like I had done about 9 years ago, you start to be able to cut through all the crap. And so when you come across oils like inner child, trauma life, present time, or even forgiveness, and your BS meter goes through the roof, you're able to pause and say, no, wait a minute. Let's dive in and find out why these are called that. Is there some way that emotions can make you connect to your inner child? Be more present. Forgive someone for doing some heinous things. When I first learned about this type of thing, it was about 4.5 years ago. And I thought, oh my God, this sounds so crazy. But then I started diving in. And what I learned is the brain responds beautifully to a scent, an aroma. And actually, as I dove in more, I realized that it's science. Much like when you smell, I don't know, cinnamon rolls, a fresh donut, baking bread, maybe even like tomato sauce being cooked on the stove. It brings you back to a place of joyfulness. Essential oils do the same thing in the brain. And what's funny is I think about it, it's like, well, those things I mentioned, bread, no, well, not bread, forget bread, but like cinnamon rolls, donuts, tomato sauce being cooked, they all have herbs and spices. This is just the dried form, what we get our oils from. Those scents can trigger emotions, they can trigger memories, which is powerful when you are wanting to have some elevated emotions, right? And so when you take an oil that's called inner child, you have to ask yourself, well, what's it gonna do? What does that mean to connect with my inner child, or forgiveness? You know, I as a Christian, I look at an oil called forgiveness, and sometimes I take issue with that, and I think, an oil can't make me forgive. That's so silly. And yet, what the oils do in our brain is it puts you in a space to actually want to forgive. It makes your body and your mind come to a point of feeling like it's okay. And so I wanted to share with you just really how that happens, and it goes back to science. Your brain is being triggered in a positive or negative way by an essential oil, allowing any sort of memory that is trapped in your limbic system, right, in that middle part of your brain. So like maybe if this is your brain, it'd be right about here, and it helps it get up and out. In the case of forgiveness, I keep talking about that one a lot, so we might as well keep going with it. A lot of times there can be anger stored there. And, you know, Chinese medicine will show you that emotions can get trapped in certain organs in our body. So maybe anger is in your liver. A lot of times grief is stored right here. Sadness, that kind of thing. Now that's not a hard and fast rule. I mean, you know, if somebody's angry, I was speaking with a woman about having a knee issue and maybe feeling unsupported. She's like, well, no, I was just angry. I'm like, well, yeah, it can go to your knees. It can go to your shoulders. It's wherever your body chooses to hold on to it. A good rule of thumb, by the way, if you are wondering, well, where is it trapped? How do I even know? If you have a reoccurring physical condition, I'm going to go 99.9% it's tied to your emotions. And you might say, well, but right now, so I have this shoulder thing or stomach thing and I'm fine. Everything's great. Yeah, but if 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you had a challenge or you had something that was trauma, emotional, in a negative way, and you didn't deal with it appropriately, well, now those parts of your body could be weakened. Does that make sense? I hope it does. You can do a quick Google search on that. I love the great Oracle, right? Google, it's great for everything. Better than a medical textbook, in my opinion. And so, there's other oils. I've got these on my desk. I've got an oil called Abundance. And when I first heard about abundance, oh yeah, abundance brings money to you. I was like, oh my, that's stupid. And yet it's actually not. There's frequencies in oils that keep you in a space of feeling abundant, raising your frequency up so that you are in a more positive state of mind and you're more grateful. Abundance follows gratitude, right? When we're feeling grateful for what we actually have, more is given to us. Sometimes there's that old saying, well, the rich are getting richer. Sometimes the rich are just more grateful. There's that. And not always, but that's just, there's truth in that, isn't there? And then the oil is in abundance. For example, patchouli. It's been an oil that for millennia that people will diffuse or burn as incense to create a feeling of prosperity. And it does have that same frequency. So if you're thinking about that portion of oils, the frequency, that is just how fast is it vibrating? How fast does it make your cells vibrate, your organs? And when you are amped up in a positive way and you're feeling more positive and your mindset is right, you're seeking wealth, it comes to you. But now abundance isn't always just wealth. It can be an abundance of joy in your home, an abundance of peace. It's just abundance is whatever you ascribe to it, isn't it? So as I go through this little bit of a series that I'm going to do now on emotions, I hope that you will want to dive in with me. I've got my book here, my little textbook, and I just want to share with you on this little portion, and then we'll dive into some oils in a bit. But really just the chemistry, just the science of it, how it goes when you smell an oil. So let me just take my Joy, right? And I smell this oil, and within 20 seconds, it's in my brain. Can I teach you something? Please don't just slap your oils on, and away you go, or just, okay, good. I mean, really, can I ask you to experience your oils? Really experience that. And if you're so inclined to smell an oil like this and, ew, I don't like that, like I was, because I was kind of a punk like that, just do me a favor. Take the oil, before you even smell it here, put it in your hand. You know why? Because when you put it in your hand, when you pour it out of the bottle, I mean, you have 250 drops. That's a lot of oil. But when you hold it here, it's like, okay, it's not quite as potent. It's still strong. And you give it a minute. And even if you don't care for it, okay. But if you can rub it together and just let the molecules wash over your brain, pause for a moment, think about what's coming up. If you are one who loves it, then just think to yourself, what memory is that triggering? And if you don't love it, ask yourself, what am I thinking about right this moment? So many times, I know I was turned off by certain oils because it was like, here, smell this. I'm like, no, sorry. Okay, moving on. Rather, if somebody were to sit down with me, like I'm doing with you, and say, hey, take a drop, rub it together in your hand to activate the molecules. Activate, you know what I mean? Activate the molecules and really experience it. It's a whole nother vibe, isn't it? Give it a try. I guarantee you'll find it to be different too.